Hi and good evening to the lovely city of Bangalore. So first things, logistics. May I recommend that we get our cell phones into silent mode, flight mode, switch off mode, whatever suits you guys best. But let's do something to cell phones. The trouble with being the first person on the stadium, on the stand here, is that nobody bothers to introduce you. So let me shamefully go and introduce myself. My name is Sanjay Gupta, and I've been an accountant in my past life, and I've been an operations person in my past life, and I've been an HR person in my past life. I don't know how many past lives I have, but now I look after a very unique initiative called the Shared Services Forum. And that's the banner under which we're meeting today, the Shared Services Forum. I also have a very unique title. I go with the unexplained title of Chief Architect. Now, a Chief Architect in a commercial organization makes sense. And personally, even I have no idea what I'm supposed to do in the Shared Services Forum as Chief Architect. But now that I have the title, Ravi Ramakrishna, he sort of unceremoniously gets me to do everything that no one else wants to do. So that's what I do. What is the Shared Services Forum? Not many of you may have heard of it, but some of you may have attended a few sessions that Shared Services Forum has carried out in the past. The Shared Services Forum is actually a platform, and it's a platform to create and disseminate knowledge for excellence in the world of BPM. We are all professionals from the world of process management. And process management, like any living dynamic organism, changes every day. It modifies. You do not do the same thing today that you did yesterday. And you certainly do not do the same thing that you did a year ago. It changes very fast, faster than we can blink at times. To keep up with those times, it's important to be well aware of what's happening in the world. It is so dynamic that it requires a lot of coordination, and that's what we do. I'll talk more about the Shared Services Forum in a while. Let me first introduce the topic. As I mentioned, it is a dynamic world, and it's fashionable to talk about dynamism as disruptive. In fact, the term that we use is disruptive innovation. Now, disruptive innovation has a very, it has a different side to it. Now, disruptive innovation means there has to be innovation which is not disruptive. That's the idea of calling an innovation disruptive innovation. So there is disruption leading to innovation, then there is innovation which happens without disruption. Confusing a bit. So let's try and give out another picture to it. What is the similarity or a difference between innovation and invention? We have a word called invention. We have a word called innovation. How is it different? Well, innovation's mom was necessity, the last I heard. Necessity is the mother of invention. So, what is innovation? In my view, innovation is the bigger brother of invention. So, invention comes from necessity, but innovation comes from invention. Invention is to create something for the first time and just, create it. Innovation is improving upon it. Invention is revolutionary, but may not be disruptive at all. Innovation is almost always disruptive. Doesn't always have to be, but always, if it is majorly disruptive. The flip is also true. In life, pretty much everything which is disruptive or changes your life majorly is almost always innovative. Confusing, but think about it. It's a fact. Let me give you a simple example. Many of you have heard of so many ones, but I'll give you another one. It was the year, let me see, 1802. Did you know light bulbs? Light bulbs were not invented by Edison. Light bulbs were actually invented by a gentleman called Sir Humphrey Davy in the UK in the year 1802. But it was so bulky and it was so expensive that it could not be commercially used. Revolutionary, but not at all disruptive. It didn't change the world. Only the scientists got to know of it. Commoners like us never got to know of it. Not to say I was there at that time, but whosoever was. 80 years later, Edison in the US created a filament and created it in vacuum to be mass produced. And that was disruptive because that changed the world of artificial lighting forever. Companies producing candle lamps disappeared. They had to go. Disruption was there, built with innovation. So the difference between invention, innovation. Revolutionary, disruptive. In the services world, what are the examples? Many of us are examples of exactly that. Technology came in. It was not necessary to do services from wherever you were sitting, wherever your businesses were. You could commonly congregate all your businesses and services into one center and use technology to actually do your services or carry out your services in a location which was very different from the location that required the service. You know, all of you know about the 90s when the GEs and the American Expresses of the world, etc., brought all the services together in one location, and at least in the finance function, and began to do it. Thereafter, there have been so many services, you know, the R&Ds of the world, in HR, technology services, blah, 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 the world, you have it. There have been so many instances where people have used technology to actually bring businesses in a location, in a place where there was absolutely no need to, and continue to service the locations that are, very, very remote. What are the services? That's past. I mean, like, people have banked it already. It's gone. The BPOs and shared services, I mean, in that lot is all gone, and we've already swallowed it and finished with it. So what are the new disruptive businesses that are coming up, the new disruptive services that are coming up? Again, as I said, fashionable to talk about robotics. And robotics, artificial intelligence are the newer gods of disruption. What are these new gods of disruption? Robotics is basically scientifically advanced analytic tools. They're not robots from the manufacturing kind of services, but they're more from a service industry, like analytic tools, etc., etc. Then there is another side of this entire technology which is called artificial intelligence. And today, organizations are merging artificial intelligence into robotics in a very, very big way, to create a new kind of a system which is not only capable of carrying out routine business services, but is capable of carrying them out extremely intelligently. And some people would like to call it intelligent automation. The new mantra, intelligent automation. The intelligent automation program in many organizations, it has the power to sense. You see, the word sense, it's no more just the brain which is working on it. There's so much of science that has gone into it. It can sense, it can synthesize, it can learn, and it can adapt. It changes itself by what it learns. It is geared to meet exceptions something that humans were the only people capable of doing because they had the brain power to think of the logic and do things differently if exceptions came up. Intelligent automation does that now. Scary at times. It is capable of doing things from routine to revolutionary. It is not about labor efficiency anymore. The entire services department or group that is using intelligent automation is actually shifting from labor efficiency to labor elimination. Those days are not very far from now. Maybe the entire BPO and shared services industry will disappear because there will be automated machines who will do these businesses. Let me, for example, give you a view. Call center business, which at one time was the very basis on which there was this huge increase in volumes in India, and now entire thing is shifted to Philippines and stuff like that, is actually looked at now as a exception management program. Every call that you actually receive in a call center is an error in the system which prompts the call in. If you can reduce those errors down, your calls will go down big time. And if robotics are the ones and intelligence is the one which is going to reduce your errors in the system, your call centers might disappear. Scary thought, but it's a fact that we have to learn to live with. And we have to figure out a method by which we can do that. SSF is on its way to try and lead from the front. The Shared Services Forum, we lead from the front and try and create a bedrock on which these newer thoughts and newer sciences can be shared. Just give you a quick 1 minute on the Shared Services Forum. The forum was itself created in the year 2011. It was created as an interactive platform where experts are brought in to ideate, this group for instance, the best in class and how it can be adopted for best in context. We've had 5 national conclaves, several leadership interaction sessions like this one. 50 or more industrial leaders have made their case presentations. There have been 30 or more cases that have been presented as case studies. 14 organizations or more actually have been felicitated for their best performance and stellar ideation. Publications, we have published several pioneering publications. We have come out with 8 publications, many of them you can see over here, including a full-scale publication on BPM and 2 research reports which are now pretty much a landmark in the business. And that's a bit about the forum. More we can talk about during our informal interaction. And we are also inviting views and also inviting membership on the forum, and can connect up with me or with Pallavi later after the session to give you a better idea of how the forum works and how we can come together for a much deeper partnership. So that's all from me.